Look, there are so many movies I wanted to watch that I became a little too busy with college to work around my schedule to see everything. But one movie I saw with the title Time Pirates, I had to watch it. Okay, I didn't have to watch it. I watched that not knowing what it was about ahead of time, but when I scroll at movies I saw on Tubi, like Ocean's 11, a Jason Bourne movie, Babe, but then I saw Time Pirates. What is Time Pirates? I mean, going into it blind, I wasn't really sure. I thought it was a fictional band that goes back in time for a swashbuckling adventure with pirates and other nonsense. But after watching this movie, I think I can safely say that we won't need Pirates of the Caribbean 6. We got Time Pirates. But who made Time Pirates, you may not be asking? The Asylum, of course. You know, came with the Mockbusters. I guess they made an exclusive deal with Tubi, since the other two movies that are Tubi exclusive films that I did watch were from The Asylum, which came out this year, and I completely forgot about both until I found out they made this movie. I despised Titanic 666 and consider it one of the worst movies I willingly watched this year, and Corrective Measures, I think I gave it a higher score just because it was just a tiny bit better, but both movies are awful and forgettable. This movie was something else, considering I didn't know ahead of time the band in this movie was a real band at first. This is a movie that stars the band SM6. Who says Tubi makes awful movies? They made a movie with the hit band SM6. Who? When it came to commercial break, because it's Tubi, so you have to watch commercials, I got bored and looked up the cast, not knowing these people were playing themselves. They are apparently more popular on TikTok, since this is a band of 6 siblings. That already raises a lot of questions. So I guess they do weird family stuff on TikTok. But I don't know, one person who I talked to said, oh yeah, I know who SM6 is, because I never heard about them, and apparently they didn't, and let alone listen to their music, but apparently they are popular enough to get a movie with Tubi and the Asylum. I mean, As and Ray had a Netflix movie, and SM6 has a Tubi movie. That's like if I wanted to ask any painter in history to make a painting for me, instead of going to Vincent van Gogh, I went to Walter Keane. With that said, I might have claimed Tubi's original content, even with the Asylum, without the Asylum's involvement, is garbage, but they did get the Asylum's notable director, Anthony C. Ferrante, to direct the movie. He was the guy who made all the 6 Sharknado movies. What else is there to say? I mean, this is a band movie. Comparing it to when a solo musician decides to do acting is different. It's a band movie. And band movies are more like when the Beatles made A Hard Day's Night. And while this is something that hasn't been the most popular genre of film, I mean, if I had to guess what my generation's A Hard Day's Night was, it'd be Big Time Movie. But we did get the Foo Fighters in Studio 666 earlier this year, so I actually really don't have a point. Honestly, I forgot what my point was, if I had one at all. But going into this movie blind, not knowing who this band was prior, did this movie get me hooked on SM6? No! So as I said, this movie is about the band SM6, who on a shoot for a pirate-themed music video stumble upon a cursed map where, after reading a curse out loud, sends them back in time to the 1700s. And they make a clever joke of, the 1700s? That was like a decade ago! Yes, it's that kind of movie. One of them asks, are you saying that we traveled back in time? And then another one of them just title drops because he responds with, I guess that would make us time pirates. Anyways, it turns out that the pirate captain, Miles Cooper, was after a cursed treasure, so when Blackbeard confronts him, he says out loud the curse Cooper has written on his tattoo on his arm, so a tornado thing picks up the pirate ship into the present, so SM6 reading it sent them back in time. Because plot, but they need to get back to the present. I mean, the lead singer of the group says, we have a concert tomorrow night. Yeah, you have other priorities too now. I don't want to look up whose name is who, because it doesn't matter. Anyone could have said any line, it'd be the same. So they must team up with Anne Bonny to rescue Cooper and defeat Blackbeard, find the treasure, get back to the concert, blah 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 blah. I guess their manager thought making a movie was a good way to be introduced to them if you don't use TikTok, like me, and it was a good way for me to not want to listen to any of their music from now on, because I would know if it's by SM6, I'm listening to the same song. I mean, okay, their song isn't... Okay, so, the movie is a musical, and the music isn't awful, but every song sounds the exact same. They could have reshuffled where they place each song, and I wouldn't notice. They all sounded the exact same. How is their music integrated within the movie? They arrive at a problem say sirens, their ship might crash, or a rough-looking tavern people who might not want to kill them, they just play the music and win over people. Or just sing out of nowhere because they just want to jam as many of their terrible music in it as they could because, I don't know, the fans will like it. I mean, bravo! I'm not an expert on many band movies, so I won't compare this to A Hard Day's Night. Let's just say on its own, this movie is still terrible. Yes, comparing this to Titanic 666 or Corrective Measures, those movies are boring, dumb, and a huge waste of time. But in this movie, I wasn't that angry. I was just cringing every single second. It almost felt like a So Bad It's Good movie, but no. Look, even for kids, these jokes are awful, but then again, they're also forgettable. I guess this was the least boring of the three, so it's sort of the most tolerable, but it's also the most cringe-inducing. I mean, these six are not actors. The only one I wrote down by name was Adam Jones because he was the worst one. There's a scene at the tavern where he tries to rationally explain he and his band are for the future, and if you're into cringe, you'll like him in this a lot. You can tell which family members are more important since two of them keep splitting up from the other four in a couple of major scenes in the film. I mean, I know who the lead singer is, so she gets the most lines as well. The other pirates in the movie are also awful too, but by comparison, and only by comparison, of course, they are way better actors than these six. So, you're welcome. The effects in this movie are terrible. I mean, you went to the asylum, so I don't know what I was expecting. I mean, there's this Kraken monster they tease throughout the movie, and words are hard to describe it. Hell, there's this time-traveling tornado thing, and it looks like public domain effects I could use. Like, I could do this better, because this looks like something I could just download on YouTube. And there's even a ram scene that's animated for no reason. Like, take that, Kill Bill Volume 1. This movie knows how to have an animated segment so much better. Oh wait, no it doesn't. I mean, like, one of them gets eaten by a gummy monster in it, so, you know, it's just hilarious. I mean, it has no effect on the plot and could be cut out, but it's hilarious. Oh, and speaking of other humor in this movie, there are even fourth wall jokes, like using a remote to mute people, or one of them has to fight a guard while the others eat popcorn and have 3D glasses on. I mean, my god, this movie is lazy and dumb. And even for kids, I put on the Iron Giant for my brother so he could watch for the first time the same night. So comparing these kids' movies, I think you see my point why kids shouldn't watch this. I guess there's no bad message. It's just a really, really, really bad movie, so I guess this won't corrupt the youth. I mean, it's free on Tubi, so it's not really a cash grab. It's just exposure, I guess. But is this really enough for it to be an excuse for making a terrible film? I mean, this movie is devoid of anything actually good. The music is shoehorned into the plot every single second, with each song sounding the exact same, and even then it's just okay at best. While every single actor was horrendous. I mean, Corrective Measures did have good actors for some reason, so it's a little better by default in that comparison. Like, if I had to say which movie's worse, I guess I think this movie's at least more tolerable to watch, but this is a probably worse movie to watch because it's way less well made. But both movies, at the very least, aren't as terrible as Titanic 666, which is just offensive in its own right for what it is. But what I'm trying to say is, all three of these movies are terrible. Like, for people who will still complain that Netflix has nothing good, look at Tubi's exclusive lineup and tell me by comparison that Netflix doesn't have better movies. Tell me. So yeah, I mean, Titanic 666 was insultingly bad. This movie is just cringe and nothing more. I mean, it's just a lot lesser in every scene. I don't know. I wish I could use clips for this review since it sounds like I'm being a jerk, but, you know, copyright. This movie is one of the worst films I had seen this year, and it makes me unhappy when I realize Disney's Pinocchio remake at least tried more than I gave it credit for, because it could have been this. Thank you for that. And what else do I have to say? Well, if you are a fan of SM6, I hope you like the band's music. I don't. I'll just forget this movie and go on with my day. I give Time Pirates a 2.5 out of 10. Take that for what it's worth, because that's being generous.